heaven and help the dwellings and homes of angels. 183. As there are societies in heaven and the angels live as men, they have also dwellings, and these differ in accordance with each one's state of life. They are magnificent for those in a higher state of dignity and less magnificent for those in a lower state. I have several times talked with angels about the dwellings in heaven, saying that scarcely anyone at this day would believe that they have dwellings and homes, some because they do not see them, some because they do not know that angels are men, and some because they believe that the angelic heaven is the heaven which is seen around them with their eyes, and as this appears empty and they suppose that angels are ethereal forms, they conclude that they live in the ether. Moreover, they do not comprehend that there are in the spiritual world such things as are in the natural world, because they know nothing about what is spiritual. To the angel said that they know that such ignorance prevails at this day in the world, and, to their surprise, chiefly within the church, and more with the intelligent there than with those whom they call simple. They said further that it may be known from the word that angels are men, since those who have been seen as men. Also the Lord who took upon himself the whole human appeared in like manner. It may be known also that, as angels are men, they have homes and dwellings, and do not fly about in the air as some think in their ignorance, which the angels call insanity, and that although called spirits they are not wines. This they said may be apprehended if only men will think independently of their acquired notions about angels and spirits as they do when the question of whether it is so is not being investigated or directly considered. For everyone has a general idea that angels are in the human form, and that they have dwellings which are called heavenly habitations, and that these surpass earthly habitations in magnificence. But this general idea, which is from an influx of heaven, is instantly annihilated when the question whether it is so is made the central object of thought. This occurs chiefly with the learned who by their self-intelligence have closed up heaven for themselves and the way of light therefrom. 3. Same is true of the belief in the life of man after death. When one speaks of it, not thinking at the same time about the soul from worldly learning or from the doctrine of its reunion with the body, he believes that after death he is to live as a man among angels if he has lived well, and that he will then see magnificent things and perceive joys. But as soon as he turns his thoughts to the doctrine of reunion with the body, or to his theory about the soul, and the question whether the soul be such, and thus whether this can be true, then his former idea is dissipated. 184. It is better, however, to bring forward the evidence of experience. Whenever I have spoken with angels face to face, I have been with them in their dwellings. Their dwellings are precisely like the dwellings on earth, which are called houses, but more beautiful. In them are chambers, inner rooms and bedrooms in great number. There are also courts, and around them gardens, flower beds and lawns. Where they live in societies, their houses are near each other, one alongside another, arranged in the form of a city, with streets, roads and public squares exactly like the cities on our earth. I have been permitted to wander through them, looking about on every side and occasionally entering the houses. This occurred when I was fully awake, and my inner sight was opened. 185. I have seen the palaces of heaven which were so magnificent that they cannot be described, Above, they glittered as if made of pure gold, and below, as if made of precious stones. Some were more splendid than others. It was the same within. Neither words nor knowledge are adequate to describe the decorations that adorned the looms. On the side looking to the south there were parks where, too, everything shone, in some places the leaves glistening as if made of silver, and the fruit as if made of gold, while the flowers in their beds formed as it were rainbows with their colors. Beyond the boundaries where the view terminated were seen other palaces. Such is the architecture of heaven that you would say that there the art is in its very essence, and no wonder, because the art itself is from heaven. The angel said that such things and innumerable others still more perfect are set forth before their eyes by the Lord. Yet they said that these things are more pleasing to their minds than to their eyes, because in every one of them they see correspondences, and through the correspondences, things divine. 186. Concerning correspondences I have also been told that not only the palaces and houses, but all things and each thing, both inside and outside them, correspond to the interior things that the angels have from the Lord, the house itself in general corresponding to their good, the particular things inside the house to the various things of which their good consists, number, sign, and the things outside houses to truths derived from good, and also to perceptions and cognitions. Also because these things correspond to the goods and truths that they have from the Lord, they correspond to their love, and to their wisdom and intelligence from love, since love is of good, wisdom of good and truth together, and intelligence of truth from good. Such are the things the angels perceive when they look at these objects, and thus it is that these delight and affect their minds more than their eyes. Houses and the things which they contain signify those things in man which belong to his mind, that is, to his interiors, consequently which relate to good and truth. Inner rooms and bedchambers signify interior things. The roof of a house signifies what is inmost. A house of wood signifies the things pertaining to good, and a house of stone the things pertaining to truth. 187. This makes clear why the Lord said that he was the temple at Jerusalem, John 2:19, 21, and why the New Jerusalem was seen to be of pure gold, its gates of pearls and its foundations of precious stones. Red. 21, namely, because the temple represented the divine human of the Lord. The New Jerusalem signifies the church which was afterwards to be established, the 12 gates the truths that lead to good, and the foundations the truths on which the church is founded. And the temple the same in respect of divine truth, and in the relative sense, heaven and the church in respect of good and truth. Jerusalem signifies the church where there is genuine doctrine. Gates signify introduction to the doctrine of the church, and through doctrine introduction into the church foundation signifies the truth on which heaven, the church, and doctrine are founded. 188. The angels of whom the Lord's celestial kingdom consists dwell for the most part in elevated places that appear as mountains rising from the ground. The angels of whom the Lord's spiritual kingdom consists dwell in less elevated places that appear like hills, while the angels who are in the lowest parts of heaven dwell in places that appear like rocks of stone. All these things come into existence from correspondence, for interior things correspond to higher things and exterior things to lower things. This is why, in the word, mountains signify celestial love, hills spiritual love, and rocks faith. Number sign. In the word, interior things are expressed by higher things, and higher things signify interior things. What is high signifies what is internal, and likewise heaven. In heaven, mountains, hills, rocks, valleys, and lands are seen exactly the same as in the world. On the mountains, angels who are in the good of love dwell; on the hills, those who are in the good of charity; on the rocks, those who are in the good of faith. Therefore in the word, the good of love is signified by mountains. The good of charity is signified by hills. The good and truth of faith is signified by rocks. Stone of which rock consists, in like manner signifies the truth of faith. This is why heaven is signified by mountains, and the highest part of heaven by the summit of a mountain. Also why the ancients had their holy worship on mountains. 189. There are also angels who do not live together in societies, but apart, house by house. These dwell in the middle of heaven because they are the best of angels. 190. The houses in which angels dwell are not built as are houses in the world, but they are given to them freely by the Lord, to every one in accordance with his reception of good and truth. They also vary a little in accordance with changes of the state of the interiors of the angels as mentioned above. Everything whatsoever that the angels possess they hold as gifts from the Lord, and whatever they have need of is given to them. Next, I will post an article that says, Space in Heaven. Thank you.